Welcome back, guys. We are continuing with this Mechabellum 1v1 replays, and I fancied doing some more hacker memeing. So it turned out to be a really decent fight, so I thought I'd record it. So I do a lot of playing where I don't really intend on making any videos, I'm just playing for fun. But if a video turns out, or if a game turns out well, or at least enjoyable, then I do a replay video on it. So he started off with fangs and sledges, and he's bringing in arclights. He is speed specialist. I am mustangs and crawlers with marksman specialist, and I bring in a couple more snipers. Now, snipers aren't particularly the best thing for hackers because they quite often kill the target that you're trying to hack. But they are good against the things that hackers are bad against, like air units that hackers can't target. So they work out alright, but they aren't particularly the best. Now, I will apologise, I've got a bit of a cough, so if I sound a little bit off, that is why. So we managed to get their tower, which means that I can kill a couple more troops before I die, but I will die eventually. But at least I managed to kill the 2 sledgehammers and a couple of fangs, so that's reduced the damage that I've received quite a bit. So unfortunately extended range sledgehammer appears, and obviously he's maining in sledges at the moment, so sledgehammer's going to be quite significantly scary in this battle. So I skip, so I have enough supply to be able to bring in 2 new units, and because I see the writing on the wall with the sledges, I feel like I need something to outrange them, and obviously Stonecrawlers are good against sledges anyway. So I'm trying to decide where to slot these in to be able to put hackers in the correct position. Because this is where I usually put hackers. And what I thought to myself was, because they've got their fangs in a vertical setup, if I put my Stormcrawlers horizontally, they'll all fire at the first little bunch. Where if I put them vertically the same as him, hopefully they won't all fire at the same time and they'll hit different targets. That was the plan anyway. So I'm not sure if it worked, but they did a pretty decent job of killing all the fangs. So it's a close round. I think we might win this one. Yep. Yeah, it's looking promising. So he's gone for the haste module. He's also got speed specialist, so that's going to increase one of his units' speed by 8, which is pretty scary. I'm trying to decide whether to go for the steel ball or not, and at the moment I feel like things are going quite well, so I don't want to lose momentum. So I decide to go for the Rhino Assault, just to make sure he doesn't catch me off guard. Now, I'm having a look to see where the best place to put it is. I'm thinking about using it defensively rather than offensively. And I feel like he could easily put one here and snipe my sniper. So I decide to use it defensively to protect the sniper. And I'm bringing in the hackers now. Now, I haven't got enough supply to be able to put the barrier on. So they're going to have a rough time in this round before I get a barrier. As you can see, they get sniped immediately. So I probably should have brought fangs in first before I brought in the hackers, but at least it meant that they were shooting at the hackers. You know, like shooting at something, which means they weren't shooting at something else. So don't think it would have made too much difference whether I brought in fangs or hackers. Because he's now gone for the ranged ability on the sledges, so now they've got insanely high range with the extended range on the ability. So he's now got double extended range on these sledges, which make them a very formidable opponent. So I'm really tempted to go for the Iron Blast, but I decide Incendiary Bomb's probably the better choice, because I want to deal with the crawlers and the fangs, because they're going to be the thing that's annoying the hackers the most. So I'm trying to place it in a position where I can catch these crawlers walking through. So I believe that to be a fairly decent position. He's going for his own Stormcallers now, because, well, that's the counter to the hacker. So he's gone for a rocket. I didn't even notice that while we were playing. But I saw that type of thing coming, which is why I always go for barrier first when using the hackers in this style of play. If you're using the hackers where you're not really maining with them, then you might want to go for range. But if you're trying to main with hackers, you really need barrier. So I managed to catch all of his units in the flame, so we did a really good job there, but unfortunately I didn't quite manage to shield up. So all my units died as well. But I think that's not too bad. I think that's acceptable for a hacker main to get a very close round, because hackers do take a while to come into their own. Now we have Orbital and Smoke Bomb. I suggest never going for Supply Specialist or Top Supply Specialist. You lose too much momentum, and you're much better off taking a skill or an item if there's one available. Take something that's going to benefit you immediately, basically. Going for the supply stuff is it's a bit of a trap. We're already in round 5. It's not going to start benefiting you until round 7, at which point you get 50 more supply. And at the moment you're 50 down, and then next round you're even. So you're down, then even, then up. So basically, it takes until round 8 until you actually start making a profit, which is, yeah, it's not good enough. So I'm bringing in a couple more hackers. I'm just using them for the shields at the moment. I'm not really using them for hacking abilities. So I had enough supply to bring one more unit in. It was a toss-up between Stormcallers or another hacker. I decided to go for another hacker. So really, I need chaff control at the moment because he's got a lot of crawlers. So I got a really nicely placed smoke bomb, which meant that he had to bring all of his units all the way to the front before he could actually start firing, which nullified all of his range abilities. Smoke bomb is an incredibly useful skill, and I used to overlook it all the time, but I got beaten by it a couple of times, and then I realised just how powerful it was. So I've started taking it a lot more often now. Unfortunately, we get timinged on the tower, so that was a bit unfortunate there. But we're still doing okay, we're holding our own. We might even win the round. Bloody hell, we won. That's nice. Okay, so we need chaff control and we need distraction to distract the Stormcallers. So he goes for the range specialist because a million range isn't enough, he needs 1,000,001. And I go for the extended range as well because I want to see if I can get the hackers in the game. And now I've gone for a couple of crawlers. I'm not going to put some over here quite yet because I've got the smoke bomb doing the job. So I'm just going to be putting them over here to distract these Stormcallers. But I don't want them to overshoot and hit the shields. So I'm trying to put them close enough that the first volley doesn't hit the shields. But obviously, I'm going to die immediately to the Stormcallers, the sledges. But if it can buy time for one volley not to hit the shields, then they've done the job. They're going to die immediately anyway, so they just have one job. I bring in the other one and put it here, hoping that that reaches up here before they fire the second volley. But I don't think that's a very good placement. I don't think it's close enough, so I decided to move it over here. So let's see how this crawler gets on here. Does he distract the second volley? Yes, he does. Fantastic. And we've got some more crawlers that I placed at the beginning of the game. Do they manage to distract? Yes, they do. So the crawlers have managed to distract 3 volleys. And did that crawler distract? No, unfortunately, it went for the Mustangs that time. But things went really well there with the crawlers. Unfortunately, this side is not doing too good this time. He's obviously reinforced it with something, because we did quite well last time. But we still won. So this side is falling. So even with all of that distraction, he still managed to take everything out. So we're going to need something more, it seems, on this right hand side. And obviously this smoke ability is going to wear off on the next turn, so we're going to need something on the left hand side as well. So this is looking very scary now, basically. We're weak on both sides. We need something to tip the scales. And the one thing that helps tip in the scales is giants. So we've got Ion Blast. We've got 3 really good skills here. But the Ion Blast is particularly good because all of these units have got enough range to not actually move on the first turn. like immediately once the round starts. So basically, it's dead easy to aim an ion blast against these because they're not moving. So I've also got Rhino Assault as well. So I decide to bring the Rhino Assault over here to see if I can distract them from the hackers. So I bring in the Giants to 1, deal with their chaff, 2, to try and get their Stormcallers aiming at the Giant instead of aiming at the hackers. So he's gone for an Ion Blast as well, but I have got 3 shields here, so there's a chance that that's going to save us. So we'll have a look. So I decided to move it just ever so slightly because of where I brought in the Rhino. Right, he's decided to start it from this side. That's a very odd side to start it from. He should have started it from here and worked up to that side. Interesting. That was a terrible Ion Blast by him. My Ion Blast wiped out his entire side. So the Vulcan did his job. He managed to clear all the chaff and distract the Stormcallers for a turn. For a volley, I should say. The hackers are now stealing all of their high-ranking, high-vetted sledgehammers. And we have won the round with a couple of stolen units to boot. So it's very close to a defeat by him now, so he's going to have to make sure he doesn't lose a single round now. So photon emission's okay, but it's I don't know. I'm not a massive fan. It's quite situational. So I decided to go for the barrier because the barrier's guaranteed to help. I probably shouldn't have put it on him though because of the crawlers that are here. Or if I did put it on him, I probably should have brought in another set of crawlers because this volley's now going to hit the barrier. I should have either put it on him or put a crawler here, basically. So I noticed that he's got he hasn't got any AA apart from this one set of Mustangs, which I assume he's bringing in for the Stormcallers. So I decided to go for an AA round to try and finish the game off. And I give them, not an AA, an air round. And I give them the Overlord Artillery just to help kill things quickly. And I have got the incendiary bomb. Now, I didn't really want to use it because I was concerned that I might just burn myself out. And I'm already burning them out with the Vulcan. I could have attempted to use it on their backline, but I was pretty sure they were going to shield up, which they did. So yeah, basically, I just decided not to use it. So his incendiary bomb has been pretty useful there. It's going to kill all of my Mustangs. I think we've done a fairly decent job there, and the only AA that he had has now died. So even though it looks pretty one-sided in his favour, he hasn't got any anti-air, so he can't win. It's physically impossible for him to win the round. And I only needed 309 points to win, so just a single giant alive would have been enough. So I believe that was a pretty sensible decision to go for some overlords at the end. And just hope that he doesn't bring in something to counter them. And that is game. Yeah, so we got the hacker build to work again. It's a very fun build. I do really enjoy using the hackers. So I've stopped using a million of them. I had one game, I can't remember if I recorded it, where I managed to get hackers to link up from one board edge to the other. Oh dear, that was a fun game, that was. But yeah, I've started just using them in either pairs on each side or triples, and they work really well. And the main thing is the opponent works around your hackers, so you can then counter what they're countering. It's kind of obvious what they're going to do. You know that they're going to go for Stormcallers or Overlords. They're basically the two things that they always use to counter the hackers. Well, if they go for Stormcallers, you can easily counter that just by putting Crawlers in front. And if they go for Overlords, it's not a problem because you've got snipers, you've got Mustangs, and you can just bring in something of your own. And more often than not, you steal some of their snipers and stuff as well with the hackers. And once again, with the enemy overlords, you can just distract them with crawlers. So yeah, really enjoyable using the hackers. It doesn't work every time, but it works more often than you'd think. I'm not sure if this missile interceptor is worth taking on the Mustangs. I think you're better off probably just putting crawlers down to distract rather than going for missile interceptor. I just wanted to use it then, just to see if it was useful or not. And I lost the Vulcan in the same volley that I lost it the round before that I didn't have the missile interceptor on. So basically, it made no difference whatsoever taking the missile interceptor. So just ignore it. Just bring in more crawlers to distract. Okay, well, that is it. That is the hacker build. So I hope you enjoyed it. Join me in the next one where we'll probably go for more serious builds. So cheers for watching, take care, and I shall see you soon.